Turbocharged heart, piston pumping like a beast. Black top, jungle feast on chaos, crave the grease. 180 miles of asphalt ain't forgiven. In this chaos-driven life, only the fearless living. Checkered flag visions, adrenaline addiction. Metal chorus blare, ain't no friction fiction. Drafting on the homies, camaraderie's the trigger. Slides on the track, bombs ready, yeah we bigger. Burn brother dreams, chasing speed and might. Engines roar loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, the fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line. Pit stop hustle, seconds ticking like grenades. Oil stained glory, history never fades. Helmet and visor, it's a warrior's enchantment. Every turn a gamble, every lap a commitment. Crowds roar, amplifies high octane behavior. Victory day sharp, savoring the flavor. Wind in the helmet, destiny's a blur. Burning rubber dreams, all senses concur. Burn rubber dreams, chasing speed and might. Engines roar loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, the fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line. Burn the dreams, chasing speed and light. Engines roaring loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, the fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to go to battle here this evening with the Victory Fuel 200, powered by Hypershift Racing League. As these NASCAR Cup drivers jump out onto the racetrack, they get ready to try and put themselves into victory lane. Each and every one of these drivers are looking to cash in, looking to hit the jackpot here, and put themselves into the Las Vegas Motor Speedway victory lane here this evening. As these drivers get ready to go to battle, they get ready to duke it out. 134 laps of racing action here in our A-Main feature event. As these drivers get done their practice session here, practice quickly coming to a close, less than a minute left to go here, and then we jump right into a little bit of qualifying, and then into our A-Main feature event. 34 laps here around the beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's Kevin Healy. Kevin coming in says, let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go, Kev says, let's go. It's race day, Mr. Peacemaker Gaming. I want to see you firing on all cylinders tonight. Get the crowd pumped. Fire me up, he says. Fire him up! Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get these drivers rocking and rolling. Let's see these drivers duke it out here. Some great door-to-door action out there on the speedway. As each and every one of them looking to try to put themselves into victory lane here this evening. See Chase Abel out there as Kevin says, let's go number 7. Cheer on Chase Abel here this evening. Sean O'Keefe says, let's go number 36. Cheering on Wenzel here this evening. Daniel says, let's go Tiny Toes. Cheering on those Tiny Toes rides here this evening as each and every one of these drivers looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. We welcome you guys in to what's going to be another amazing show, another amazing race here on Peacemaker Gaming. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that like button on the stream right now. Hit that thumbs up, hit that share, hit that follow, and that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family today, as practice has come to an end, and that means qualifying about to get underway. Drivers getting ready to slide out there onto the speedway. You see that 7 rider, Chase Abel. He's going to jump out there. Here comes Adam Boughton. It's the Evo ride out there onto the speedway, the Amazon Prime machine. He's looking good, rolling out there onto the racetrack, down the back straightaway, trying to build up that speed. Each and every one of these drivers trying to get as much momentum and as much speed built up here, trying to put themselves into a good spot here in this qualifying session. Is Dalton Wicker coming in, not even going to cheer on himself here this afternoon. He says, let's go, Corey. Dank cheering on Corey out there on the speedway. Dalton, are we going to see you in attendance here tonight? We do see Dalton in here as well. There's the 77, right? The Tiny Toes machine getting ready to jump out onto the racetrack here himself. As Emma, how are you, my girl? Emma coming in, showing the love as well. Says, let's go, Gage. Cheering on Gage here this afternoon in that 36 ride. As we do see that Tiny Toes 77 building up that speed, jumping down onto the back straightaway as Brian Fine nice and easy down through corner number 3 and out of corner number 4. Looks like he's going to get his first lap in here. Right now it's Adam Boughton with the quick time here in qualifying, but a lot of drivers down across the line will maybe jump up and knock him off that top spot. He does have quite a bit of a lead here between himself and Chase Abel, but now we do see Timothy Watson jump into position number 2 as the sun is setting here over Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The beautiful Vegas Strip going to be lit up in the background. The lights here on the racetrack starting to wind up, starting to get fired up here, and going to give us a great show here as racing under the lights at Las Vegas Motor Speedway is always such a good time, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see these drivers continue to battle here this afternoon. Zach Weisenflew, what's good, Zach? Zach coming in, showing the love with that like on the stream. Craig Michael Deek and my boy Craig coming in with that thumbs up as well. My dad, Ben Beeble, coming in, showing the love. What's good, Dad? How are you? Coming in, showing the love here in this one with that heart reaction. As Buddy Mills Jr. coming in with that like as well on the stream. 2-1-3 Simware, one of our amazing sponsors here in the Hypershift Racing League, coming in with that like and the share on the broadcast, and Hypershift himself coming in with that like and the share here this afternoon as well, as we have a great set of drivers here again this afternoon, man. These guys always put on a crazy show for us week after week after week. Some great finishes, some great runs, and some great finishes. Right now, Brian Fine with the quick time in that Mac number 57 ride. He's currently the fastest out there on the speedway. In that top spot is the Monster Energy number 2. The Snap-on Tools ride in position number 5. Corey Dink in that number 17 ride. The Tiny Toes ride getting a little loose there on corner exit as he's trying to carry all that speed and momentum down the back straightaway, down into corner number 3. Nice and easy down through that third and fourth corner on the racetrack, back down through the tri-oval here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, down across the line. Let's see if he finds any extra speed right there. See if he can jump up a little closer here to the top of the speed charts here. Doesn't look like he'll find that speed that he was looking for, unfortunately back in that 12th position. Michael Carter up and into second as Gavin Grubbs now into third, but it's still Brian Fine with the quick time here in qualifying. Scott Shive into position number 4. Al Likens inside the top 5 in that number 9 ride. Chase Abel, James Hudson, Adam Boughton, Timothy Watson, and Drew King currently are top 10 here in qualifying, but looks like King is going to get knocked out of the top 10 as Jack Simpson jumps inside the top 10, now into that 7th position in the Premier Racing Setups number 24. Gage Wenzel, he's out there on the racetrack as well. That Tom's Tasty Taters ride down across the line. He's currently 18th. Let's see if he finds a little extra speed here. He does find a little bit, jumps up 4 more spots and into that 14th position. Not the best qualifying run there for that 36 ride as he's going to spin around, make a little contact there. We do see Tyler Chronister in his Walmart 99. Looks like he's going to get done his qualifying attempt here in that 20th position. Michael York getting ready in that prime ride to slide out onto the racetrack here. Let's see if he gets a good lap time in here as well as he's waiting to qualify. Same with Dylan Picklesheimer down pit side here, yet to jump out on the racetrack for his qualifying session, and still waiting on Zach Wilson as well to qualify here this evening. Looks like 28 drivers loaded into the sim, each and every one of them going to be chasing that win here this evening, and some great racing action about to come right at you. My boy Kevin Healy, Kevin coming in, setting it off here in this one, coming in with the big of the day over there on YouTube. Kev coming in with the $2 dono over there on the stream. Let's freaking go, baby. Coming in first time super sender over there on YouTube as well. I appreciate that, Kevin, coming in with that $2 USD donation over there on the YouTube stream. Christina says, have an awesome race, Gage. Cheering on Gage and all these other drivers. As what's going on here, chat? We went from daytime in practice to nighttime virtually there for qualifying. We're back to daytime here for this feature event, and these drivers, they are pumped. They are ready to go. I thought we were going to be under the lights here for this feature event, but looks like the lights will stay off here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll be going back to the daytime here as, maybe on Saturday night they qualified. Now we're into that Sunday afternoon, and we'll get ready for race trim here and see what these drivers got up their sleeves, getting ready for this main feature event. As out in front, gonna lead us to the green flag, it is the Mac number 57 ride. That is Brian Fine, who will start in that pole position. To his outside in the original takes Coca-Cola number 18. It is the 213 Simware ride of Michael Carter. Starting in position number 3 is supposed to be the number 12 ride of Gavin Grubbs, waiting for Gavin to jump out there onto the racetrack as the podium number 81 machinist Scott Shive rolls out there in position number 4. Starting in the 5th position in the Uni First, number 9 machine, that is Al Likens. To his outside in the Noble American, number 7, it's Chase Abel, who will start there in 6. Starting in the 7th position in the Premier Racing Setups, number 24 ride, it is Jack Simpson. To his outside in the Monster Energy number 2, it's James Hudson. Starting in position number 9 on the inside, a row number 5, that is Adam Boughton, and to his outside will be the 28 of Timothy Watson. That's where we see Drew King back there behind him in 11th. Jonathan Cogswell going to start back in 12th. Then we see Corey Denk back in the 13th spot. We'll have the 36 of Gage Wenzel to his outside. We see Chris Sofeld. We see Dalton Wicker back there, Daryl Johnson, Max Kost, Jaden Newson, Tyler Chronister rounding out our top 20 out there on the speedway. Aaron Spear, Anthony Ludi back there in the 95, running that Adidas machine, rolling back out just outside the top 20 right now as the 88 of Christopher James will be down to his inside. We see Kent Mueller there, as well as Zach Wilson back in the 26th position. Dylan Picklesheimer back in 27th, and Michael York in the prime ride going to be back there in position number 28. As each and every one of these drivers getting ready to go to battle here. 134 laps of racing action here in the Victory Fuel 200, powered by Hypershift Racing League. The lights are off, the official iRacing pace car, and we will get ready to go to battle as we will end all the anticipation here with our feature presentation here this afternoon. Brian Fine, Michael Carter will bring us down to the green flag here, as I do believe the pace car can make that hard left-hand turn down pit side, and that will unleash this field to our flag man is down across the start-finish line. The green flag is in the air here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Quickly, Brian Fine onto the loud pedal, quickly opens up a bit of a gap. Nice and easy down into corner number 1. Let's see if we can get through the first set of quarters here. If there's any issues as drivers already 2-3 wide out there on the speedway. Everyone trying to take that momentum, a good launch on this start, and trying to race their way up towards the front of the field. Already some drivers falling backwards, other drivers trying to move forwards here. Some up on the extreme hindsight, some right in the middle, and a little bit of contact right there. Things are going to get skinny down there off of corner number 4. A little contact for the 2 ride, as unfortunately James Hudson and the 36 of Gage Wenzel make a little contact right there down through and on the exit of corner number 4. Luckily enough, both drivers able to keep their cars pointing in the right direction. They keep on rolling as Corey Denk down to the inside here of that 36 ride, taking a peek. Now he's going to fall back in behind him here as things get a little bit more settled out as we start to get the laps down here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We were here not too long ago, Sunday afternoon. We did a full-length NASCAR race, 267 laps here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So we've got a good knowledge. We knew what this racetrack's really going to do here for these cars and how these drivers are going to have to handle it here this afternoon and what they need to do to try to put themselves into that winning strategy here. We've seen a lot of green green flag racing in our race on Sunday. We win the entire race without a caution flag. We may see more of that here this evening with the Hypershift Racing League. Caution free is always a possibility out there on the speedways. Each and every one of these drivers trying to race their way up towards the front of the field as Drew King just laid down the quickest lap of this race. That 34 ride, the U.S. Postal Service machine, back in position number 9, just laid down the fastest lap of this race, and quickly now trying to work himself around Adam Belton, trying to slide into position number 8 on the speedway. Belton trying to hold on to that 8th position, and so isn't that 81 ride, as unfortunately already Scott Shive down 3 spots back into that 7th spot on the speedway, and continuing to slide backwards here. Now has Belton battling back down to his inside. Here comes Gage Wetzel. Here comes Drew King, all trying to get around him. Unfortunately, Gage kind of got hung up there in that outside lane, ends up losing a spot there, and unfortunately giving one back to the 94 ride as well. It's out in front. It's Brian Fine. It's a fine day to be out there on the speedway, and I'm sure Brian right now is feeling very fine at the front of the field as he leads this race early on, and already opening up a half a second lead between himself and Michael Carter. Carter trying to track him down here in that 12 ride. A Gavin Grubbs having a great run here. These Ford Mustangs tend to be very, very good at Las Vegas. We saw some great speed out of that 12 ride. The Menards machine of Ryan Blaney here on the last weekend with the NASCAR Cup Series. And here's that 12 ride again this afternoon, looking to try to have another good run and a solid performance out there on the speedway at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Jack Simpson already up 3 spots, sits there in position number 4 and looking for more as Al Likens on his back bumper. Here comes Adam Belton battling back here. They're going to split that 9 ride. They're going to go 3 wide down through corner number 1 and 2 as Belton will quickly make a 2-for-1 deal right there down through quarter 1 and 2. He'll make his way around Chase Abel and Al Likens using that inside lane. They're still 2 wide, 3 wide out there on the speedway. You see Scott Shive, he's kind of stuck right in the middle. Here comes Chris Zofeld. Zofeld going to try to work himself inside the top 10 now as the 11 ride jumps up into the 8th position. These drivers trying to keep themselves pointed in the right direction, trying to keep themselves out of trouble. And here comes the Tiny Toes rides. Here comes Dalton Wicker. Wicker, they're in position at number 10, now trying to race his way inside the top 10 here. Already up 9 spots on the speedway. He's a man on a mission, trying to race that Tiny Toe 77 Ford up towards the front of the field. You see a couple spots back there. His teammate Corey Denkins back in position number 12 here, up 1 spot from where he started, trying to race his way inside that top 10. As Kevin Healy, what in the world? Healy coming in, setting it off again, big time here in this one. The big D of the day again here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's see some hashtag Kevin's up in the chat right now. Hashtag Kevin in the chat right now over on YouTube, over on Facebook. We want to see hashtag Kevin flying in the chat right now for Kevin Healy, coming in with the big D of the day again. Already came in with the $2, but now backing it up with a $10 dono over there on YouTube, coming in, setting it off here in this one. We can't thank him enough here this afternoon as Kevin Healy showing the big love, says, for all your fine work, Mr. Peacemaker Gaming. Let's go, Noble American Racing Machine. Go get him, he says. Go get him. Yes, Sirski. Kev also says, sheesh, can't wait to see these racing machines fly. Mr. Peacemaker, wow, let's can go, baby. Let's fucking go. Kevin coming in, setting it off here in this one. And right now, you can watch your driver up there in that inside the top 10 here, trying to hang on to that 6th position. He's been battling hard for 6 a lot here already in this race. Now has Dalton Wicker, has Chris Zofeld quickly working down low underneath of him. Here comes Gage Wenzel as well, trying to race his way back up towards the top 5 here. But man, oh man, Chris Zofeld up 10 positions. Dalton Wicker now up 11 as they are able to get around that 7 ride. The Noble American Machine slides back to that 8th and now potentially that 9th position with Gage Wenzel down to his inside. Now the big thing is going to be potentially trying to save tires here at the Speedway. That is going to be the name of the game here for a lot of these drivers. It's hot, it's slick out there on the Speedway. These drivers, after 15, 20 laps, we're really going to start to see those rear tires start to fade away here. We're going to see drivers slipping and sliding around the racetrack. We saw a lot of drivers go down through that infield grass last Sunday, and we may see more of the same here this afternoon once those tires really start to fall off. And that's where the big money is going to be made here this evening, is going to be a part of that tire saving. If you can have a better long run car, because the caution flags, they don't always fall here in this series. They don't always come out. We've seen a lot of races go almost virtually clean and green without a caution flag, or maybe only one or two. And you don't know when those caution flags are going to fly. You don't know when they're going to come out. It could be late in the race, could be in the middle, could be early on, but you just never know until you know. And we may see them go clean and green this entire race. So you want to make sure you're trying to save those tires, trying to make sure your car is A-OK out there on the long run, and maybe trying to save a little bit of fuel for that strategy in trying to race your way into victory lane here this evening. As it may not be one out there on the racetrack. It may not be the driver that's the fastest out there on the speedway lap after lap after lap. It may be the driver who's fastest getting down pit lane, not making any mistakes on pit road, and just being in the right place at the right time to potentially put themselves up and into victory lane. And still, Brian Fine continues to lead this race. His lead, though, has evaporated. Is right there on his back bumper is that 94 ride of Adam Belton. Belton fell back a little bit early in this race, maybe just trying to play it safe there in those couple opening laps, and now we see that Amazon Prime Toyota starting to race his way up towards the front of the field. He sits there in position number 2, trying to go on attack mode here, looking to try to take this race lead away from Brian Fine. Fine going to try to hold him off and keep himself out in front as Michael Carter falls back to 3rd and Gavin Grubbs there in the 4th. Jack Simpson back into that 5th position, and just outside our top 5 is that 77 ride of Dalton Wicker, as we see our first caution flag of the day that's going to fly. Our first yellow flag will be displayed here this afternoon, and it looks like, oh man, a heartbreaker here. Chris Zofeld going to run into some problems here. Let's take a look and see what happens. Contact here as Zofeld and Gage Wenzel get tied together. You see Zofeld up into the outside fence. Heavy damage right there for him. Luckily enough, looks like everyone able to avoid him. Keep from any additional contact right there. Let's take a look back, though. Let's break this down. Let's see this contact. I don't know if the 36 kind of comes up or if the 11 kind of comes down. Just good, hard, tight racing out there on the speedway. And unfortunately, contact being made, and up into the outside fence goes that 11 ride. So you do see that 36 kind of coming up right there, maybe misjudging the entry point here into corner number 1. Unfortunately for the 11 ride, maybe coming down just ever so slightly himself, not a whole lot at the point of contact. Looks like he's still pretty straight, getting ready to set that car into the corner, and just getting into that right or left rear quarter panel of the 11 ride was Gage Wenzel. Gage just trying to side draft, trying to stay there on that left rear, trying to slow that car down, trying to get that run into quarter number 3. Unfortunately, got a little too close to him, got a piece of him, gets him sideways up around the hood of the 36 ride, and shoves that 11 up into the outside fence. Heavy hit right there. Let's see if we can jump on board here with Chris Zofeld and see what he can see from the cockpit of this 11 ride as they head down the back straightaway. Let's play it back just a little bit. They're chasing Dalton Wicker. They're battling here for the 7th and 8th position. Here's the contact. He goes around. Nothing he can really do. He's got her locked up, and unfortunately heavy contact into that outside fence. Heavy damage right there, but luckily enough, no one else getting a piece of him. No one else really slamming into him. We've seen that time and time again. Drivers, won't hold on to that brake pedal. They won't, do anything really there, and we've seen a lot of them, unfortunately, slide back down the racetrack even farther in front of traffic, and more drivers get collected there. But Chris doing a great job holding onto that brake pedal, getting that car stopped there as quickly as possible, and everyone else able to avoid him, avoid additional damage, and keeping themselves out of trouble here this evening. It's a tough breakout there, and unfortunately those drivers running into some problems early on, and now we did see drivers come down pit road. It's Gavin Grubbs and Jonathan Cogswell, the two drivers that stayed out on the racetrack here, did not come down pit road. After 17 laps of racing action, they decided to keep themselves out in front. Now the tire fall off was already starting to be seen here. Drivers were already starting to see some actual damage to those tires and starting to slip and slide around out there on the speedway. So for this 12 and 84 ride, this is a very bold strategy, staying out during this caution flag. As Gavin Grubbs, Jonathan Cogswell will lead us back to the green flag, and right there behind them, it's a pair of tiny toes. goes. It is that 77 of Dalton Wicker and the 17 of Corey D into position number 4 and looking for more now on the racetrack. So some pitch strategies putting them into that second row as Al Likens in that 5th position. Adam Boughton back to 6th. Brian Fine, our race leader at the time of the caution flag. He'll get ready to restart from 7th with Michael Carter, Gage Wenzel, and Jack Simpson rounding out our top 10. Another couple of drivers working themselves up and through the field here is that number 51 ride, the Rogue Machine of Zach Wilson, up 14 spots now into that 12th position. I'll see Michael Carter. He's up 14 spots as well in that Prime Hydration number 5 ride, up and into the 14th position here. Dylan Picklesheimer, he's moving up as well. He's in that 15th spot. He's up 12 spots here early on in this race as well. So some big movers out there on the speedway is Kevin Healy. Healy says, psh, it's no big deal. He says, old monkey. Old monkey? I don't know what old monkey means, but brother, it is a big deal. We appreciate you coming in, showing the big love here this afternoon as we go back to green flag racing here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Quickly, Gavin Grubbs onto the loud pedal, unfortunately for Jonathan Cogswell. He's up in that outside lane and quickly has the Tiny Toes rides looking down to his inside. Dalton Wicker looking to put himself into position number 2 as they battle door to door down the back straightaway down into corner number 3. Still battling here. And now here comes that 17 ride, the second Tiny Toes ride up there inside the top 5. That's that beautiful machine of Corey Denk. Denk right there trying to work his way up towards the front as you do see potentially those 4 fresh tires back there in that 94. Adam Boughton, who's racing his way up inside the top 3 there. He got up to second, was putting the pressure on our race leader before that caution flag was thrown, and we see him quickly slicing and dicing his way around the 77, around the 17, and the 84, and moves back into position number 2, and now trying to hunt down Gavin Grubbs. As Grubbs out in front, leading laps here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in that beautiful Menards Peak Oil number 12 machine. We do see Al Likens trying to race his way through there. Same with that 24 ride of Jack Simpson. Brian Fine there in 7th. He's trying to slice and dice his way through the traffic. Here comes Gage Wenzel as well as 2 wide, 3 wide racing again here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And that's what makes these restarts in the racing here at Las Vegas just so intense, so interesting, and so awesome to watch. These drivers battle door to door out there on the speedway, inches off of each other and inches away from what could be disaster out there on the speedway. Everyone, different tire strategies, different momentum, different speed being carried around the speedway, and unfortunately for some of them making those strategy calls. You do see Corey Denk unfortunately sliding back here. That 17 ride, Corey D now back into position number 13 on the speedway. Looks like he may get some contact right there. A little neck code. Unfortunately, he's going to get up into the outside fence and unfortunately going to collect that noble American number 7 ride. A heartbreaker right there for all of the Chase Abel fans in attendance. We did see some more issues for Timothy Watson back there as well. As Timothy, he may have seen this one coming, may have gotten some contact here himself as the 28 ride trying to avoid all that. He goes down through the grass here. Hop, skip, and jump in there. Luckily enough, able to get back onto the speedway there without too much damage. But as we take a look back and we take a look at those drivers, unfortunately here, just a little contact for Corey. Now, I'm not sure. I feel like this was a lot of neck code right here. And this is a heartbreaker for Corey and definitely a little bit of damage now to that 81 ride. It's right here, the 81 getting a good run to the back bumper. Unfortunately, just a little netco gets into that 17 ride, right into that left rear quarter panel, spins him sideways on the racetrack. Chase Abel nowhere to go. He tries to get up, pinch the outside fence there, trying to avoid heavy damage with that 17. Unfortunately, just has nowhere to go. Slides in there, slides into that 17. They both end up with some pretty good damage up into the outside fence there, down the front straightaway. And unfortunately, the toughest part of that issue for both those drivers is that there was no caution flag. There was no caution flag. We keep it clean and green out there on the speedway. No one officially went around. No one was pointing in the wrong direction. And iRacing not throwing that caution flag for either of those drivers. So now, Chase Abel, Corey Denk, they're hoping and praying to see that caution flag fly. They want to be able to try to get down pit side here, not under the green flag conditions, to get their cars repaired and back into racing form here this evening, as Adam Boughton has been able to jump up and take that race lead away from the 12 rider Gavin Grubbs. Grubbs in his strategy unfortunately starting to not pay off here for him, starting to slide backwards, but he still has that extra set of tires back there behind pit wall, and if they were able to get a caution flag right now, I think it'd be a little too early for everyone else to come down pit side. He'd be giving up a lot of track position, but would have the freshest tires out there on the speedway and potentially helping him out on his strategy here, trying to hit those numbers to make sure that he can make the correct amount of pit stops, maybe try to save a pit stop out there here this afternoon. On the 12 ride sits back in position number 10. Dalton Wicker right there with him, as Wicker back in position number 9, as we did see, I do believe Wicker and the 17 ride of Corey D both took 2 tires on that pit stop, and that's what got them up into position number 3 and 4 for that restart. Unfortunately, we do see the 84 rider Jonathan Cogswell right there as well, so not an awful strategy for these 3. They're still hanging on just inside the top 10 here for Wicker and Grubbs. Jonathan Cogswell just outside the top 10 out there on the racetrack, but unfortunately for that 17 at Corey D all the way back here now into the 27th position. He was falling like a rock, and unfortunately now has some good damage on that 17 ride, hoping to try to get that repaired and back out there. We do see Dylan Picklesheimer in that 45. He slid all the way back to 26 there on that restart, and Chase Abel trying to race his way back up through some of these drivers. He's back around the 2 ride of James Hudson, but now trying to go to work on that Reese's Pieces number 4 of Darrell Johnson, trying to race his way back up towards the front of the field in that Noble American number 7 machine. As Adam Boughton continue to lead this race, he now has about a 2-second lead between himself and Brian Fine. Fine rolls there in position number 2, and one of the drivers that started at the back of the pack, back in 26th position, now up 23 spots on the speedway. It's Zach Wilson who finds himself in that 3rd spot on the speedway. Michael Carter and Gage Wenzel, they battle door to door here for position number 4 on the racetrack, with Jack Simpson right there behind him. Aaron Spear right there in that battle, as well as the 96 run, getting a great run there on the outside of the 36. As there you go, you do see Michael Carter. He's going to win that battle. He's going to stay in position number 4, and now Aaron Spear trying to race his way inside the top 5. Here comes Tyler Chronister as well. Chronister having a great run here this afternoon. That Walmart number 99 ride sits in position number 8 as Timothy Watson now into 9th. Dalton Wicker continuing to slide backwards here. He's back into that 10th position, trying to keep that car out of trouble, as we do see one driver down onto the apron right there. That was the 40 ride of Jaden Newson. Able to keep that thing put it in the right direction, though, able to keep on rolling. Now up into that 13th spot on the speedway. As Gavin Grubbs now back to 14th, we do see, unfortunately, the 84 rider Jonathan Cogswell sliding all the way back to 19th. So that strategy trying to stay out there for the 12 and the 84. They're definitely starting to feel the effects here of having those older tires and now having all these other drivers faster with the better tires out there on the racetrack, all starting to work themselves around them here this afternoon. Now they're hoping for that caution flag. Is John D, what's good, John? John says, let's go Tiny Toads. Cheering on the Tiny Toads here this evening, as down across the line, we're going to see lap 34 jump up onto the board here. So we get 100 laps of racing action left here this evening. 100 laps left here to battle this afternoon. Is what's up, brother? What's up, brother? Says Michael Scott Spencer. What's good, Michael? Michael coming in, showing the love here in this one. What's up, brother? How are you, Michael? How you doing this afternoon? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day. As Sean's Detail also coming in with that like on the stream. How are you, Sean? Sean coming in, showing the love here in this one, as well as some absolutely great racing action. A lot of great battling out there on the speedway in each and every one of these drivers, still looking to try to race their way up and into victory lane here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor right now. Do it right now. It's absolutely free. Only takes a second. Hit that like button. Hit that share button if you're feeling curious, and make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button if you're watching over on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Become part of the Peacemaker family today and turn those bell notifications on. That way you never miss it when we go live with racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. As out in front, it's Boughton time, as he's trying to finish this one off. He says it's about time, and he wants to put this 94 ride up and into victory lane, but there is still a lot a racing left to go here. Less than 100 laps, though, from the checkered flag here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He's looking for a roll of the die. He's looking to hit sevens here this afternoon, and he's looking to cash out with the checkered flag here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's Sin City, and what happens here in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for the bragging rights of our race winner. They're going to carry that with them all season long. So it's a big one here this evening for all these drivers trying to pick up the dub here in the Victory Fuel 200, powered by Hypershift Racing League. Brian Fine sits there in second. He's been very, very good all afternoon. Our pole sitter led a lot of laps, the first 16, 17 laps of this race, and they're on that restart, racing his way back up into second, now trying to track down Adam Boughton as he's slowly but surely closing that gap, slowly catching up to our race leader, but also separating himself from our third place driver, Zach Wilson. As Wilson sits there in third, as Michael Carter and Gage Wenzel rounding out our top five out there on the speedway. Jack Simpson back in sixth with Aaron Spear there in seventh. Tyler Chronister, Timothy Watson, and Christopher James having himself a great run in that Samsung LD number 88 ride as he rounds out our top 10. Drew King in the 40 ride, the LALS number 40 ride of Jaden Newson trying to take over that 11th position as they battle door to door down the back straightaway. Looks like the 40 ride will fall back in line in behind that 34, so Drew King will hold on to 11th. Jaden Newson back there into position number 12 as Ryan Chronister. Ryan having another good run here this afternoon in that 19 ride as the 34 gets very loose out of corner number 4, ends up losing a couple spots as he loses a ton of momentum down that front straightaway. Now here comes that 77 ride at Dalton Wicker. Wicker on a different strategy than the rest of these drivers out there on the speedway, and the 77 rolls there in that 14th position. Anthony Ludi, he's up 7 spots on the racetrack, and Ludi in that Adidas number 95 ride rolls there in position number 15 with Gavin Grubbs, who's yet to come down pit side here. Yet in this race we saw virtually everyone else except for him and Jonathan Cogswell, who's right behind him, all come down pit side. These two decided to stay out there on the racetrack, not come down pit road, and now you do see some fresh tires down low there. That number 63 and Max Goss going to drive right around both of them here, and they're going to lose a spot each back to 17th and 18th as Goss up into that 16th position. It's Kent Mueller who's right there behind him in the Monster Energy number 8 ride, who rolls there in the 19th position. It's Scott Shive in that Podium 81 ride back there in the 20th spot. Now he does have a little bit of right front damage here after contact there. I don't know if it was neck code or what happened down through corner number 4, but got together there, unfortunately, with that 17 of Corey D. Corey Dank, unfortunately, almost going around there sideways on the racetrack, but not fully going around. Got bounced around, though, and unfortunately ended up with some pretty good damage himself. As Grubbs back into 20th here. Scott Shive able to get around him. We do see Al Likens back in 21st. Here comes that 7 right to Chinks Abel. Abel slowly but surely racing his way back up towards the front of the field here, trying to rebound after that contact with the number 17, and he's back into that 22nd position as Michael York there in 23rd. Dylan Picklesheimer there in 24th. Daryl Johnson in the 25th position with Corey Dent. Corey D there in the Tiny Toes number 17 rolls in 26th. James Hudson there in 27th, and Chris Sofeld bringing up the rear of the field. Still damage after that initial contact and that initial caution flag here on lap number 16. Still dealing with that damage. Unfortunately gets up into the outside fence again as here comes our race leaders right on around him. That's going to put him as the first driver here this afternoon, a lap down out there on the speedway. Luckily enough, though, for the next few laps, he will be in that free pass position as Adam Boughton and Brian Fine both just storm right around him, but you do see that gap that Adam Boughton had here over the rest of the field has evaporated. That 57 right back to his rear bumper, less than a car length between them, down into corner number 1 as Boughton and Brian Fine about to duke it out here for our race lead. They got 3.5 seconds between themselves now and our third place driver, Gage Wenzel. Wenzel back there in position number 3 with Jack Simpson. Into position number 4 is the 24-30 rides starting to race their way towards the front of the field. As they're starting to race their way up towards the front, looking good out there on the speedway is the beautiful Monster Energy number 96 of Aaron Spear, rounding out our top 5. Zach Wilson sliding back now into the 6th position, may end up losing another spot, may fall back to position number 7 as that Helvoline 28 of Timothy Watson looking to try to get around him. Michael Carter there in 8th with Christopher James and Tyler Chronister rounding out our top 10 out there on the Speedway. Some great racing action, a lot of battling out there on the Speedway, and we do see that lead change as the 57 of Brian Fine back out in front, taking the race lead back away from Adam Belton, and Belton back into position number 2 here on the Speedway. Now he's going to try to hang with that number 57 ride as there is only 47 laps down in this race. We edge closer and closer to the checkered flag here this afternoon. As Michael Scott, Spencer Scott coming in showing the love here, says, yes, sir, doing good. Our first dirt race this weekend. Let's go, baby. Let's go. First dirt race this weekend. We love to hear that. We love to hear that. Michael Scott says he got to stop for fuel. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of drivers. At least a couple that are going to be coming down pit side here, I think, very, very soon. When we look back at Jonathan Cogswell definitely going to have to come down pit side. He's down in the 17th position. He is one of 2 drivers that did not pit during that caution flag on lap number 17. So for these cats, you know, that's a lot of time out there on the Speedway. Gavin Grubbs get to come down pit side as well in that 12 ride. So for the 84 of Jonathan Cogswell, for this number 12 Gavin Grubbs, they got to be coming down pit road real soon. And here you go. Oh, the 12 ride trying to head down pit road, came in with a little bit too much speed, stays out on the Speedway, does not make that hard left-hand turn, does not head down pit side. We did see Dylan Picklesheimer did come down pit road. He was the first driver to bite the bullet and come down pit lane here. Now down a lap out there on the Speedway, but trying to use those fresh tires to his advantage, hoping to try to keep himself out in front of the rest of the field here, or maybe try to split this race into 3 out there on the Speedway. As Christina says, Wenzel looking for the lead. Wenzel is trying to race and trying to hunt down our top 3 out there on the Speedway. Unfortunately, he has quite a bit of a gap here as down the back straightaway. You just see him there up at the top here. They're still quite a ways in front of him here, as out in front, Brian Fine has 0.6 of a second between himself and Adam Belton. But now you do see Gage Wenzel. He's closed that gap. It's less than 3 seconds between himself and that 57 ride. So he is coming. It's slowly but surely, but he's inching away, trying to hunt these guys down during this green flag run. As we do see Jonathan Cogswell head down pit side. Gavin Grubbs as well down on pit road here in that 12 ride. You do see the 84. He's getting ready to roll back out there onto the racetrack. We do see Daryl Johnson in the Reese's ride also down pit side as well. So green flag pit stop starting to get underway here. Drivers starting to feel that pressure. And now once we start to see more and more drivers head down pit road, start to make these pit stops, it's going to make things that much crazier out there on the Speedway. It's going to start making things that much funner here this evening, as it's going to get wild in a quick hurry here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get absolutely plumb wild out there on the racetrack as Brian Fine leads the way. But green flag pit stops, you got to imagine that these drivers, you know, they're only about 10-15 laps away from coming down pit side themselves. Their tires, their fuel, it's going to be starting to run thin out there on the Speedway, and the tire wear already starting to play a major factor out there on the racetrack. Drivers early on with the fresh tires run right around that 30-second marker, maybe even dipping a little bit below that. We've seen drivers run a 29.8 second lap. We've seen them hit the 29.7s out there on the Speedway as well. So you can run under 30 seconds here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with a fresh set of tires. But now that these laps have been kind of building up and these drivers continue to wear out these tires, they're now over 31 seconds here on average lap time. Some drivers even hitting the 31.3s, 31.5s out there on the Speedway. So the tire fall off really starting to show a major effect as they're falling down about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds a lap here. And those fresh tires can gain you a lot of track position in a quick hurry, as we do see Adam Belton. Belton coming down pit road in that Amazon Prime number 94 ride. He's one of the first drivers from towards the front of the field to make this gamble to come down pit road and make this green flag pit stop. Now the big thing that's going to be an issue here for Adam Belton. He may be able to gain a ton of track position. He may be able to run some very, very fast laps where he may be able to leapfrog a lot of these drivers if it cycles all the way through. But if it doesn't cycle all the way through for that Amazon Prime 213simware.com number 94 Ryan, he could be sucked into a bad spot. If we see that caution flag come out, he is now a lap down. He's got to hope that our race leaders all start to really head down pit side. And here you go. Here comes our race leader, the 57 of Brian Fine. He makes his way down pit side. Here comes Zach Wilson as well. We're trying to get a good shot here of Wilson coming down pit road. There's that 51, the Rogue Ride, also heading down pit road. And Chase Abel in the Noble American right now. Chase does have some pretty good damage on that 7 ride as well. Unfortunately, the crew isn't really going to have a whole lot of time to go to work here, trying to get those fenders cleared, trying to get some of that damage dealt with on that 7 ride, as he's got some heavy front end contact there after we saw that 17 ride kind of get some contact, get sideways there on the racetrack, come back up in front of them. They made heavy contact not only into each other, but into that outside wall for that 7 machine. So good right front and left front damage here for that Noble American number 7 ride as he heads down pit side, getting that car jacked up, the tires put onto it, the fuel into the 7 machine, and he's getting ready to roll back out there onto the racetrack. But looks like he's going to be down there for an extended period of time. I'm not sure if the crew is going to work trying to repair that car or potentially a pit road speeding penalty, and that's what we talked about early in this race. The pit road penalties could potentially be a major factor on whether or not you can win this race or get a good finish, as it looked like about a 30-second hold there, but does look like maybe a little bit of that damage did get repaired for the 7 ride, but that could have easily put him a lap down out there on the speedway that time down on pit road. As we did see Aaron Spear make a pit stop there. We saw Michael Carter also down pit road. They get rolling here back in onto the racetrack. Same with that 7 ride, but it's Gage Wenzel who's out in front, and our new race leader here this afternoon in the Victory Fuel 200 here live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Hypershift Racing League, powered by Juicy Spider here this afternoon. As Gage Wenzel leads the way, the 24 rider Jack Simpson rolls there in position number 2. Timothy Watson back there in 3rd. Tyler Chronister there in 4th. Christopher James, Jaden Newson, Dalton Wicker, Max Cost, Anthony Ludi, Ryan Chronister, our top 10 out there on the speedway. Some great racing action, a lot of different pitch strategies starting to be played out here this afternoon, as some of these drivers trying to hope and see if they can make their way into maybe that one-stop kind of race here. If they can race their way potentially to around lap number 70 or so, maybe they only got one short pit left late in this race, where maybe we see that caution flag come out, see everyone have to come down pit side for that yellow flag late in this race as well. But trying to earn some of that track position, trying to make sure you got those tires better later in the run, as we see this 36 and we see a lot of these other drivers stay out there on the speedway, continuing to stay out there on the racetrack. Now they're giving up a lot of time to those fresh tires. Those fresh tires unfortunately are laying down some very good lap times back there behind them, where on the short end look of things, they're going to leapfrog these guys. So they're giving up that track position. They're giving up that track time. We will see them come back out onto the racetrack, not in the race lead. They won't be probably even in the top 5, maybe not even in the top 10 anymore. They'll be outside of that, but they will have the best tires and the cleanest race cars out there on the racetrack, and potentially could race their way around a lot of these other drivers that have already made pit stops, that came down pit road early. When you look at Jonathan Cogswell or the number 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer, like these drivers came down pit road on lap 49, lap 46. Even when you look at our race leader there, Adam Boughton, and the 57 of Brian Fine, they came down pit road on lap 53 and 55. So the longer you stay out, the more that they're burning up their tires. They're able to gain time on you out there right now, but when you come back out with the fresher tires, they're going to be a lot farther off the pace than you, and you're going to be able to play a little offense and try to hunt them down, as you do see Boughton working himself around that 24 ride, looking to try to race his way back onto the lead lap in case a caution flag does fly here this afternoon. As Gage Wenzel out in front, continuing to lead the way. We did see Christopher James head down pit side in the 88 ride. We did see a couple other drivers, Tyler Chronister and Ryan Chronister, both come down pit road. They're rolling back out onto the racetrack right now. Ryan Chronister unfortunately now scored back in the 25th position, as Chris Sofeld and I do believe James Hudson, Chase Abel, both down multiple laps out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately, that extended pit stop for that Noble American number 7 ride has him 2 laps down out there on the speedway. He's really hoping to see things kind of cycle back through, hopefully stay only 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, and then getting another caution flag, hopefully trying to race his way back onto the lead lap here this afternoon. It's some absolutely great racing here this evening. These guys put on a heck of a show for us. As RR205 says, let's go Simpson. Cheering on Simpson here this afternoon. You'll see Christina says, yes, go Gage, go. Cheering on Gage Wenzel out there on the speedway. As Gage having a great run here again this afternoon, but here we go. We do see our race leaders head back down pit side. Here comes Gage Wenzel. Here comes Dalton Wicker down pit side in the 77 ride. Jaden Newson down pit road in the ASL number 40 machine down pit road as well here. So some drivers making green flag pit stops here. More drivers going to start to come down pit road. Here comes Anthony Ludi. Here comes Michael York, Al Likens, Drew King, all coming down pit side this next lap around. Jack Simpson going to stay out there though for a few more laps. Looks like he may be heading down pit side this time, as here comes that Premier Racing Setups ride. Almost got tagged right there, but luckily enough, able to keep that car clean and green out there on the speedway. Rolling down pit side here for his pit stop. Kent Mueller also coming down pit side. He was scored in position number 2, and now that's going to cycle things back here at the speedway. As things cycle back through, and it's the 94 ride of Adam Belton as he rolls down through corner number 3, nice and easy out of corner number 4. Jack Simpson just getting into his pit stall, just starting to get that car service out there on the racetrack. Belton down the front straightaway will take this race lead back away as Adam Belton trying to play that strategy game, the pit strategy here this evening at the beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And we do see these drivers cycle through our first set of green flag pit stops here this evening. For Adam Belton, he was down pit road on lap 53. Brian Fine back there behind him a couple laps later, trying to hunt him down, but has a 4.3 second gap between himself and that 94 ride. They got a big gap all the way back to position number 3 as Jonathan Cogswell there in position number 3. He's about almost 6 seconds behind this 57 ride, 10 seconds behind our race leader. He's got Zach Wilson right there behind him in position number 4. Dylan Picklesheimer back in that 5th position with Michael Carter there in position number 6. Gage Wenzel, who we saw come down pit side, back on lap 64 here. He now has some of the fresher tires out there on the racetrack, especially compared to all the drivers in front of him. Almost 10 laps better than a lot of those drivers inside the top 6 that are in front of him right now. So he's got the fresher tires. He's got more fuel in that 36 ride, and he's going to be trying to get that 24-30 Tom's Tasty Taters number 36 ride back up to the front of the field. Aaron Spear there behind him in position number 8 with Jack Simpson back in that 9th spot, just rolling back out there onto the racetrack. One of the last drivers to make that green flag pit stop here this afternoon. Timothy Watson rounding out our top 10 in the Halvoline number 28 ride with Christopher James, Tyler Chronister, Max Koss, Gavin Grubbs back there in 14th. Ryan Chronister there in 15th. There we see Dalton Wicker in that 16th position. Jaden Newson there in the 17th spot with Anthony Ludi, Daryl Johnson, and Michael York rounding out our top 20. Al Likens there in 21st with Scott Shive, Kent Mueller, Drew King, Corey D, James Hudson, Chase Abel, and Chris Sofeld bringing up the rear of the field. As unfortunately for that Tide Pods number 11 ride, more damage there to that right-hand side. Need a lot of caution flags and a lot of opportunities to come down pit side and try to get that car repaired. Unfortunately, with that right front damage, continue to find that outside fence, continue to create more issues there for him, and just trying to stay out of the way, but continue to roll out there on the speedway. As that will take you through the field as Adam Belton continues to lead the way, is down across the line, this time across the line. We will click off another lap as we are well within halfway of this race. Is Mr. Bowman, Aaron Bowman, the showman, coming in showing the love over there on Facebook, says, let's go. Hope your night is going well, Aaron. It's always doing good, brother, when we get to see you amazing people up in the chat showing the love, coming in, dropping those comments, and smashing that like button on the stream, man. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in and showing the love here, and it makes my night that much better seeing the crowd grow and seeing these amazing people in the comment section showing the love here, race after race after race. race, cheering on their favorite drivers if they're on the racetrack, as Adam Belton leads the way. 73 laps into this race now, and next time down across the line, we're going to see lap number 74 up and onto the board, meaning that we only have 60 laps of racing action left here this evening. So about 60 laps left here in this feature event, and we're going to jump into a Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume right now. Crank up that volume. Cheer on your favorite drivers in the comment section, and crank up that volume as we get the sights and sounds around Las Vegas Motor Speedway here in the Victory Fuel 200. Alrighty, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session right there, giving us the sights and sounds all around the beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway. As our second caution flag of the day is going to fly here this evening, as it looks like Corey Denk, unfortunately going to run into some more issues out there on the racetrack. Let's take a look back at the Tiny Toes number 17 ride as he's trying to race his way around the 4 ride here on the racetrack. Looks like they're going to make some contact. He's going to go up over the nose there of that number 4 ride, backwards into the outside fence, and unfortunately for Corey, that's the second time we've seen that happen to him here this afternoon. The Tiny Toes ride just trying to keep that car clean and hoping to stay out of trouble. Unfortunately, I don't know if the 4 kind of comes down. Looks like the 4 kind of coming down off the wall. The 17 kind of coming up. Unfortunately, they both just kind of meet there in the middle. Unfortunately, wrong spot to come together. Unfortunately, wrong place for the contact there, as well as the 17 ride kind of gets hooked right there. Turned around up into the outside fence. That car pointed the wrong direction. Our flagman getting a great look at that and quickly throwing that caution flag out as Corey's car going to come to a rest here on the front straightaway. Luckily enough, everyone else able to avoid additional contact. No one else getting tied up in this mess, and luckily enough, not a lot of tore up race cars out there, but a tough break there for that beautiful Tiny Toes 17 machine of Corey D. As all these drivers gonna head down pit side now. Pit stops underway. Everyone headed down pit side this time. No one going to risk it for the biscuit here this evening. No one going to stay out there on the speedway looking to try to potentially earn, some track position out there or take that gamble. Looks like everyone's going to come down pit side, and that's going to move our pit strategy here to basically none. Everybody now on the same game plan. Everyone on the same page here. Is lap 89 kind of a refresher here in this race? Now these drivers are going to have about 44 laps of racing action left to go, and it's Gage Wenzel who's able to beat these guys back off of pit lane. So for the 36 of Gage Wenzel, he leads this race now. He is our race leader, and he's getting ready to try to put on a show and looking to try to pick up another checkered flag here in the Hypershift Racing League as the Victory Fuel 200 inches closer and closer to that checkered flag is down across the line. Lap number 91 going to go up and onto the board here, meaning 90 laps have been officially completed as we get ready to go back to green flag racing out there on the speedway. We'll see the green flag come back out with about 43 laps of racing action left here this afternoon. 43 laps left to battle and duke it out here this evening. It's Jake Stefanski. Jake, my boy, coming in showing the love with that heart reaction on the broadcast show there to Aaron Bowman again, coming in showing the love as well with that heart reaction here on the broadcast, coming in showing the love over there on Facebook. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, as we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing here this afternoon. Some absolutely amazing racing action here this evening. These drivers putting on a great show for all of us to enjoy here this afternoon. As the pace car does have the lights turned off the official ride here this afternoon, and that means we will get ready to go back to green flag racing here this evening. Man, the battling in the beating and banging, it is just going to start to heat up as drivers know that they can probably make it here on fuel. They probably don't have to make another pit stop, but that tire strategy could play a major factor here in these closing laps. For Gage Wenzel, though, he's out in front. He wants to keep himself out in front here and not let another driver back around him here for the afternoon. As Wenzel down through the Geico restart zone, we'll see that green flag fly once again as the 24:30, the Tom's Tasty Taters number 36 and Gage Wenzel leads us back down into quarter number 1 as we are back to green flag racing, and each and every one of these drivers looking to try to cash in, looking to hit sevens here and win that jackpot here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're 3, almost 4 wide back there deeper in the field. Everyone trying to get everything they can, trying to earn a little extra here this evening, as each and every one of these drivers hoping to at least break even here and try to work themselves into a great finish this afternoon. Unfortunately, only some drivers can get away with breaking even here this evening. Other drivers, unfortunately, may fall a little bit short. They may lose their money. They may lose the points that they were looking for here this afternoon with some late race runs. As out in front, Gage Wenzel leads us again down the back straightaway into corner number 3, but Brian Fine sticking right there with them, not letting off the back bumper of that 36. Wenzel trying to open up a little bit of a breathing room there between himself and the Mac 57 ride, as they do open up a bit of a lead between themselves and our third place driver, that 24 Jack Simpson. Simpson there in that third position, as here comes the Tiny Toes number 17 rider, Dalton Wicker. Wicker racing his way inside the top 5 now as he rolls to the inside here of Michael Carter, trying to slide into that 4th position. They battle door to door, as right there behind him is Adam Belton, an early race leader of this race and a driver that's been out in front for multiple laps here this afternoon. He's back there in position number 7, but he is taking 3 wide, actually in position number 6, but 3 wide here, and a little contact there between Al Likens and that 51 of Zach Wilson. Again, they make contact. Look out, loose down out of corner number 2 is that 9 ride. Luckily enough, he's able to collect that Uni first ride, loses a ton of momentum, a ton of speed down the back straightaway. He's going to slide back a couple more spots, and now Likens just trying to hold on to position number 9 now, as Timothy Watson able to get around him. Here comes that 99 of Tyler Chronister, rounding out our top 10, and they're still 2 wide, 3 wide back there behind him. Everyone looking for everything they can get here in this race, as they know that this may be their last big opportunity to gain a ton of positions and race their way to the front of the field. But the laps, we still got a lot of them. There could still be a lot of different things that could go wrong here, and there we go. There could be something going wrong as one of our race leaders turned around, Brian Fine, up into the outside fence. And we will see that caution flag fly here once again. Caution flag coming back out for the 3rd time here this afternoon, as this one, we didn't have to wait long for this one, ladies and gentlemen. We saw that first caution flag come out on lap number 17, 16, somewhere in that area. Then we saw second caution flag there around lap number 88, and all of a sudden, here you go, not very many laps later, we see that caution flag coming back out, and Brian Fine, one of those drivers battling for the race lead. Looks like he's going to end up making contact right here. Almost virtually the same thing we saw earlier between this 36 and the 11 rider, Chris Sofeld. They end up making contact down here into corner number 3. Looks like the 36 trying to get up to that rear quarter panel again, trying to side draft and slow that 57 right on quarter entry. Unfortunately, gets up a little bit too high, gets into that left rear quarter panel, spins that 57 right sideways. Unfortunately, down across the nose of the 36, continues to push down into corner number 3. Luckily enough, look at the 24 Jack Simpson. Oh no, Adam Belton nowhere to go. Belton ends up getting a big piece there of that 57 right. Pretty good damage there for that 94 right, as well as we do see that 57 up and into the outside fence. So Belton, Wenzel, and Brian Fine all getting some pretty serious damage there during that caution flag, and that's really going to mix things up here this evening, as now we see a lot of other drivers head down pit side here. A lot of drivers making these additional pit stops. We see Adam Belton coming down pit road. He's looking to get that 94 ride repaired. We do see Gavin Grubbs, Al Likens down pit side. We see Jonathan Cogswell, Daryl Johnson, Dylan Picklesheimer, Ryan Chronister. A lot of these drivers headed down pit side looking to get their cars repaired, looking to try to play a little bit of strategy late in this race, as we did see a lot of cats stay out there on the speedway, including that 36 ride of Gage Wenzel, as Wenzel going to stay out in front here now. The officials may take a look back at what happened, what's transpired out there on the racetrack between that 36 and the 57 and the 11 ride here this afternoon. I'm not sure what the call is going to be there. Honestly, some tough contact, some tough problems out there on the racetrack, getting into that left rear quarter panel of both of those drivers, of Zofeld and that number 57 of Brian Fine. They're bringing out a couple caution flags. I'm not sure if they're going to be happy about it, if they're going to penalize this 36 ride, or if they're just going to say good, hard, clean racing out there on the speedway. I'm not sure how the officials may score that, but definitely not the way that the 36 of Wenzel wanted tonight to go. Each and every one of these drivers always jumps out there on the racetrack playing their run clean and green, and obviously just trying to play a little bit of that aerodynamic game there out of that 36 ride, trying to get that side draft, trying to kind of draw them back. If you can get to that left rear quarter panel and draw some air off that back bumper of the car in front of you, it kind of stalls them out a little bit, kills a lot of their momentum, and almost brings them right back to you, where you can try to draw even with them down into corner number 3, and that's exactly what we've seen that 36 ride trying to do. Unfortunately, twice now this afternoon, just getting a little little too close, trying to get that side draft a little bit too advanced here this afternoon and making that contact with the pair of drivers here this evening. But nonetheless, he continues to be our race leader, as Emma says, "You got this, Gage." Cheered on Gage out there on the racetrack, as he is our race leader. He's still looking to try to pick up that checkered flag no matter what here. He wants to be that driver out in front, picking up the dump here this evening, as he's got his teammate in the 24-30 ride there to his outside. Is a pair of Premier Racing setups machines at the front of the field here this afternoon, both looking to try to put themselves into victory lane here. Gage Wenzel, Jack Simpson 1 and 2, Michael Carter there in third. Dalton Wicker in the Tiny Toe 77 ride now into position number 4, and Zach Wilson rounding out our top 5. Timothy Watson, Tyler Chronister, Michael York, Christopher James, and Max Koss rounding out our top 10 out there on the speedway, as we will get ready to go back to green flag racing. It's down through the Geico restart zone, playing that cat mouse game, trying to keep all these other drivers on their tippy toes here for the restart. And the 36 of Wenzel quickly getting back on the loud pedal, leading us down into quarter number 1. Here comes that 24 ride of Jack Simpson, trying to put the pressure onto his teammate's back bumper now out there at the front of the field, as he's feeling that pressure himself. He's got Dalton Wicker, Michael Carter right there behind him, looking to try to race their way to the front of the field, as the 24 going to take it deep down low into corner number 3, and nice and easy out of corner number 4. It's Jack Simpson who will take that race lead away. So Simpson able to power down through corner 3 and 4, takes that big run that he got down the back straightaway and puts him into the race lead. So for the first time here this afternoon, we see that 24 ride at the front of the field, not during green flag pit stops, and he is now our race leader, as Gage Wenzel in position number 2, Wicker there in third. Carter slides back into that 4th position, as Zach Wilson, Timothy Watson, Tyler Chronister having himself a day in the Walmart 99 ride, as he rolls there in position number 7. But we do see that caution flag coming back out. So cautions breeding cautions here later in this race, and unfortunately for a couple drivers coming together here, looks like Jaden Newson potentially getting tied up in this one. Now, Jaden's had some tough luck in a lot of these races, and unfortunately, looks like he is going to get turned around right here. Maybe some contact between himself and Scott Shive out there on the speedway. Shive down on the apron here, the 40 ride rolling here. They're both kind of, one's kind of, no, just looks like Shive comes up a little bit too far right there. Looks like he's trying to rejoin the field here, trying to rejoin the racing surface. You can use that apron. There's no out of bounds here at Las Vegas. That's why it's a white line, not a yellow line there on the apron of the racetrack. Unfortunately, coming back out onto the racing surface, comes up a little bit too far, gets into that left rear quarter panel of that 40 ride. They make some pretty serious contact. Obviously, the 40 ride trying to keep himself pointed in the right direction. Here comes Drew King. Here comes Al Lankins. They slam in there. Anthony Ludi pushing that 34 ride into him. They both wash up the racetrack in the 40 ride up into the outside fence, and nowhere to go for the 8 ride of Kent Mueller. Mueller heavy damage into the back end of that 40 ride, as James Hudson just able to sneak through there, keep that car out of trouble there himself. You see Chris Sofeld splitting him here. The 4 ride, he goes around trying to keep himself out of the action here. The 17 of Corey Denk just able to get himself out of that action there, as well as a couple drivers tore up here again on the speedway. Let's take another look back. Let's see from Kent Mueller's perspective here. Kent's trying to slide into this, trying to race his way through this action. He can't quite see where it's happening. He sees the smoke, sees some contact, sees that car down in the middle. Unfortunately, the only lane he really has available out there is the jump into that outside groove. And right here, he doesn't really see what's going on, what's happening, where this caution flag may be coming from. And unfortunately for the 8 ride, he doesn't see what's in front of him. He finally sees it right about there. Sees that 40 ride going sideways. He's hoping that he's going to stay down on the bottom of the racetrack or in the middle. Unfortunately, all that momentum into corner number 1 slams him right in front of the 8 ride. Nothing he can do. Slams into the back end of that 40 ride. Heavy contact, heavy damage for both of those cats. And unfortunately, a couple tore up race cars late in this race. As we'll get them all stacked up. We'll get them all racked up and ready to go back to green flag racing, as we do see Boughton back down pit side. Drew King down there trying to get repairs done to his car. Jaden Newson, Ryan Chronister, Kent Mueller all down pit road trying to get their cars fixed up. Looks like Corey Denk, he came down pit road, rolling back out there onto the racetrack. Same with Brian Fine and Chris Sofeld, as I do believe couple of those caution flags were a good break here for Chase Able. Able to race his way back onto the lead lap in the Noble American. Number 7 ride right back into the thick of things here this afternoon after running into some problems, not only out there on the racetrack, but then also running into problems down on pit road. He's got this Noble American 7 ride fixed back up. The car is back into one piece, into great condition here as the crews went to work and really got this car back into pristine condition out there on the speedway. He now rolls in that 17th position, looking for this green flag, hoping to go back to battle and seeing if he can race his way back inside the top 10 here this afternoon. Will be a great comeback story there for that 7 ride to finish off this evening with a solid run. As Jack Simpson, Gage Wenzel 1 and 2 again here, getting ready for another restart as each and every one of these caution flags inching us closer and closer to the checkered flag. As we get ready to see these drivers go back to battle here with about 30 laps left of racing action here this evening. About 30 laps left here in this race for these drivers to duke it out here this evening. Alrighty, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Down at corner number 4, the pace car will head back down pit side. The 24 car of Mr. Simpson is our race leader. He is the control car here on the speedway, so he gets to set the pace down through the Geico restart zone. Trying to use a little bit of cat and mouse right there, trying to get a little bit of a late start there down in that box, and that's going to create more chaos. Look out, Dalton Wicker into the outside fence. Wicker is going to go around. Here comes the caution flag back out on the speedway. Cautions breeding cautions here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. If you took the over or under on the yellow flags being about 4, unfortunately the under has not hit. The over is now hitting as we see that yellow flag come back out. Unfortunately, some heavy damage there for the Tiny Toes number 77 ride. As we take a look back at this restart here, he's going to blink a little bit, but not only is he blinking a little bit, not the best jump for the inside lane. Obviously, that cat and mouse game here. Our race leader in the 24 ride trying to get that good launch on everybody else. He's going to wait till the very end of the box and then finally put that hammer down and start to pull away from everybody here. Unfortunately, that inside lane not really firing off very well. You see the outside lane already starting to go. The 36 just trying to get onto the throttle here. The 77 ride, he's getting shoved pretty hard by the 51 as that 51 ride, he was ready to go. Zach Wilson was trying to race and push his way up to the front of the field. Now the 77 did blink there for a little while as well, but you see him on the back bumper of this number 36. Here comes the 51 again into his back bumper. They're all kind of just log jammed down there on that inside lane. Unfortunately, the 51 giving him that shot just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's going to shoot Dalton up the racetrack and into that outside fence. Take a look here as where that contact's made. Oh, we went a little too far here. Let's play this forward as he's going to blank there for a little bit. There we go. All right. So right here, the 51 ride coming in, getting into the back bumper of the 77 ride. You see how he's not squared onto that back bumper. He's more to the right-hand side of the back bumper, and that's unfortunately just putting a lot of pressure into that right rear, and that's what's going to just spin that 77 ride around. He gets hard up into the outside fence. Heavy damage as well for that 28 ride as he got a big piece of him, and now you see him sideways sliding here in the middle of the racetrack. Everyone trying to avoid him. Everyone trying to keep themselves out of it. Unfortunately for the 7 ride of Chase Able, he's going to get a bit of contact there into him, but luckily enough, everyone else, it will be very heads up there on that restart, getting around that 77 ride. Looks like Chris Sofeld may get a little piece of him right there, as well as unfortunately the 11 ride couldn't get checked up, couldn't get out of the way there quick enough, and does get a piece of the back end of that 77. Unfortunately for the second Tiny Toes ride out there on the speedway, running into some more problems here this evening. He's got that car down pit side, looking to get some very heavy repairs done to his machine here this evening. Jaden Newson still down pit road. Same with Kent Mueller. Heavy damage on all 3 of those drivers. Chris Sofeld back down pit side after getting a good piece of that 94 or of that 77 ride. And unfortunately for those drivers, heavy damage here down pit road, trying to get repaired. And we get ready to go back to green flag racing as Jack Simpson will be our race leader. Michael Carter will now restart in position number 2 as Gage Wenzel will be back in 3rd. Zach Wilson there in 4th with Timothy Watson. Looks like, luckily enough, doesn't look like too much damage there to that 28 ride. He did get a pretty good piece of that 77 ride, helping him up into the outside fence there. Luckily enough, doesn't look like too much damage down to that 28 ride. Must have hit him square and in the right spot on the racetrack to keep that damage off that 28 machine. Tyler Chronister there in 6th with Christopher James back in 7th. And then we see that number 81 of Scott Shive, then number 36 of Max Costa. They're running out our top 10. Jonathan Cogswell, he's back there in that 11th position with Gavin Grubbs. They're in position number 12. Dylan Picklesheimer there in 13th. Al Likens, James Hudson, Chase Abel, Daryl Johnson, Ryan Chronister, Anthony Ludi, and Drew King rounding out our top 20 on the Speedway. Aaron Spear back there in 21st with Corey Denk now in position number 22 here as he is now back onto the lead lap here himself in the Tiny Toe 17 ride. So all these caution flags not only helping Chase Abel back onto the lead lap, but also helping the 17 ride back into the action here this evening as well. Jaden Newson back here. He is in position number 23 with Adam Boughton there in 24th. Dalton Wicker still down pit side, scored in the 25th position with Kent Mueller there in 26. Chris Sofeld scored in 27th, and unfortunately for Brian Fine, our pole sitter, back down pit road here, and he is at the rear of the field in that 28th position as we go back to green flag racing. A bit better of a restart right there, but we're still 2-3 wide here as here comes that 5 ride of Michael York. York from the rear of the field. He started back in 28th in York, trying to race his way into that 4th position of 23, 24 spots out there on the Speedway. Zach Wilson started at the back of the pack as well in 26, and they are battling door to door. Two of our good fast movers here as you do see some contact. Unfortunately, York down through the grass here, still trying to hang on to this ride as he rolls back out onto the racetrack. Everyone trying to avoid running into him, and unfortunately for that 5 machine, had raced his way up inside the top 5. Was looking good out there on the Speedway. Now we do see that caution flag coming back out as York down through the grass here, man, after contact as they were battling for position number 4 on the racetrack here. Let's play this back just a little bit. Let's actually play this forward. We seem to hit the wrong button there. Is down through quarter number 3 and 4. They are door to door here, and coming out at quarter number 4. Looks like they're just going to come together here, tight across the wall right there. Him and the 5 ride come together. The 51 of Zach Wilson, the 5 machine of Michael York, and now you see this 5 ride down through the grass here, trying to keep this car pointing the right direction. Sideways right here, sliding down across the line. Luckily enough, somehow or another, able to keep this car still pointing the right direction. Sideways right there again. Could have been a whole lot worse, and that's where you see the caution flag come out, is unfortunately a couple of those drivers see this 5 ride starting to come back up the racetrack right there, and I think that scared a lot of these drivers. I think a lot of these cats saw what was happening, saw this 5 ride potentially sliding back out onto the racetrack here, and that kind of locked a few of them up together, and unfortunately Christopher James looks like he's going to be one of them here. As James sees his 5 ride coming back up the racetrack, he tries to move up the Speedway to avoid potentially contact there between him and the 5 ride. Ends up getting a big piece of the 81 of Scott Shive. Shive nowhere to go right here as they slam in there together. The 7 ride of Chase Abel again, nowhere to go as he has had some tough breaks this evening. Wrong place at the wrong time. They come together. Unfortunately, the 88 point the wrong direction. Then you see the 4 ride and the 2 ride come together as they slide down through quarter number 1 and 2. The 2 turned around. James Hudson ends up sliding back up the racetrack into Scott Shive. Shive ends up getting some hard contact there into him and back into that outside fence. Heavy damage there for the 2. Heavy damage for the 81 and for that 88 ride as he's parked up backwards against the outside fence. So some heavy damage, some heavy contact there for a lot of these drivers just trying to keep themselves out of the action there, trying to avoid damage with that 5 ride. And then we got a bunch of more drivers tore up here late in this race as the cautions continue to breed cautions out there on the Speedway. And now some strategy games definitely going to be played here. Drivers not wanting to give up track position, drivers on different tire strategies, drivers that have been a little bit more patient maybe on these restarts and not really burning up their equipment, trying to gain a lot of spots out there on the racetrack. Here you go. We're going to see some late race restarts here, ladies and gentlemen. You came here for a show. Well, here you go. Things are going to get crazy in a quick hurry as Emma says, well, damn, so much for smooth sailing this race. So much for that one. Unfortunately, these late race caution flags, hey, they are sometimes a blessing. They are sometimes a curse for some of those drivers out there on the Speedway. I'm sure there were some drivers that were, welcoming a couple of these caution flags. Maybe enough time to get a little bit of a break in there, a little bit of a breather, kind of, relax, maybe, wipe some sweat off their brow after battling hard for virtually almost our first 100 laps without very many caution flags. And now, over the last 10, 15 laps or so, we have seen numerous amounts of these yellow flags come out. We definitely have made things that much more difficult for these drivers. And now, with strategy also being a game plan out there on the speedway as well, really none of these drivers, though, at the front of the field have ran too many green flag laps. So the tire fall off really hasn't been much out there on the speedway. They haven't been burning up any fuel. They were already probably good to go since that third or fourth caution flag, and now we see these guys, able to just kind of duke it out. That's kind of what's, I think, is really causing a lot of these issues, is drivers know that they don't have to worry about fuel strategy. They don't have to really worry about tires too much here late in this race. It is now or never to race their way into the front of the field. It's now the time to shine here at the speedway. And I think that pressure and knowing that they want to get everything they can here on these restarts have really created some more of this chaos out there on the racetrack. Everyone not wanting to give an inch, everyone taking and not giving out there on the speedway and trying to get every inch they can here on the speedway. And that's what's created some of these caution flags late in this race, and we may not be done yet seeing these yellow flags fly as down through the Geico restart zone. The 24-30 teammates timing up that restart perfectly right there as the 24 right able to get a good launch and a good shot there from the back end as Gage Wenzel right there on his back bumper pushing his teammate down into corner number 1. As out in front, it's Jack Simpson who continues to lead the way, and now you do see that 51 ride of Zach Wilson into position number 3 on the speedway. Timothy Watson restarted there in second. He's now back in position number 4 as a little contact right there. Gage Wenzel in the 51 ride as Zach Wilson trying to race his way up towards the front of the field here. Let's play it back right there. There was a little contact here between these two. You see them try to break the draft down the back straightaway. Now you see the 51 try to cut down to the inside. The 36 trying to pinch him down there, trying to block him from getting to that inside groove. Unfortunately, they make a little contact. That gets Wenzel a little sideways right there. He loses a ton of momentum, and unfortunately for this, in number 36, it sends him backwards here now into about the 4th position as the 28 ride down low, able to get around him here as well. And then we see Tyler Chronister, who's right here behind these guys. He's going to end up getting some contact, and he is going to go around. And, oh, man, hard contact into the outside fence right there for Tyler Chronister, man. That was a heavy, heavy hit. Trying to get everything he can right there and race his way inside the top 5. And all of a sudden, the 9 right of Al Likens is right there as well. Al sees the gap down low. He's going to poke his nose underneath the Chronister. I don't think Chronister really realized that Al Likens was there. He's trying to get underneath of Wenzel here, who was slow down the front straightaway. They just get tied together. They get kind of log jammed there. The 99 right over the nose of that 9 machine of Al Likens, and that just shoves him up the racetrack into the outside fence. Heavy, heavy damage there for that Walmart. Chronic Pawns at twitch.com, number 99 machine. Heavy damage there into that outside fence. A tough break for him as he was battling up inside the top 10, top 5, having himself a great run here this afternoon. And now very heavy right side damage here on that 99 machine. And now we do see some drivers making some strategy calls here, heading down pit side. A lot of different drivers coming down pit road, including Michael Carter. We see Corey Denk down pit side of the Tiny Toe 17 ride. James Hudson, Drew King, Adam Belton back down pit road. Tyler Chronister himself, he's looking to get that car hopefully fixed back up. He ends up missing his stall there a little bit. Has to throw that thing into reverse, hoping the crew can go to work and trying to get that car repaired to get back out there onto the speedway. And unfortunately for Gage Wenzel as well, Wenzel, oh no, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the Wenzel fans in the stands, looks like that 36 ride may have lost connection or may have taken this car down behind pit wall. I'm not sure if he ended up having some more issues out there, but unfortunately for the 36 ride, he is now off of the speedway, down behind pit wall. Looks like he's loading that car back up onto the hauler here, scored back in that 22nd position. Jaden Newsom, his teammate, still rolling out there. He's going to appreciate that as at least another spot here for him. Scott Scheif potentially going to be able to leapfrog him here, as well as Kent Mueller. Dalton Wicker back there, he's still down pit road in 26. Chris Sofeld, he's rolling out there in 27, but multiple laps down. And Brian Fine still down pit side here himself. But for Gage Wenzel, down and off the racetrack here and no longer on pit lane. He's back behind pit wall. one of our competitors, one of our battlers here this afternoon, looking for the checkered flag. His night may be done. As Haley McFarland says, that Tom's Tasty Taters car, yeah, that Tasty Taters car looking very good out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately, looks like he may no longer be in this race here this evening. So for all of the Gage Wetzel fans in the stands, tough news right there, hearing that 36 ride is stuck in his car down behind pit wall and off of the racing surface here this evening. You still get to cheer on his teammate, though, as the 2430 Premier Racing Setups number 24 ride of Jack Simpson out in front leading this race. Zach Wilson now to his outside. Timothy Watson there in third. Al Likens back in fourth. Dylan Picklesimer there in that fifth position with Jonathan Cogswell. Finally looking for a good run, a good day here at the Speedway. Hoping to get some good luck and some good break here this evening as he's got that 84 ride up inside the top 10 late in this race. Max Koss, Gavin Grubbs, Anthony Ludi, and Ryan Chronister now rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Aaron Spear there in 11th. Chase Abel now into 12th. It's Michael York, Christopher James, Michael Carter, Corey Denk, Drew King, James Hudson, and Adam Boughton rounding out our top 19 out there on the Speedway, still on the lead lap. Unfortunately, Tyler Chronister took his car down and off the racetrack. We do see the 4 ride of Daryl Johnson also taking his car off the Speedway. Same with Gage Wenzel, Jaden Newson back down pit side in the 40 ride. Is out in front. We go back to green flag racing as the 24 machine of Jack Simpson leads us down into corner number 1. Nice and easy down through the center of the corner, and he will exit corner number 2 and down the back straightaway with the race lead here once again this afternoon as Dylan Picklesimer trying to race his way inside the top 3 here this afternoon. He works down to the inside of that 51 ride of Zach Wilson. Wilson trying to keep that road machine up inside a podium spot on the Speedway with that 45 ride, getting a great run. And look at the battle back here for position number 5. Al Likens trying to hold on to that 5th position, but the 63 of Max Koss, the 84 of Jonathan Cogswell, in that 12 ride of Gavin Grubbs trying to jump up inside the top 5 here on the Speedway. Unfortunately, looks like he's going to slide back at least a spot here down the backstretch as Max Koss able to get around him and now into that 5th position as we inch closer and closer to that checkered flag out in front. Jack Simpson leads the way. Only a few car lengths separating himself in the battle for position number 2 as it's starting to heat up. Here comes Dylan Picklesimer. Here comes Zach Wilson. They're about to go 3 wide down the front straightaway for that second spot on the racetrack as the Halvoline 28 machine of Timothy Watson trying to keep himself in position number 2. Now here comes a big run out of that 51 ride as he's all over the back bumper of that 28 ride. Looking to carry that momentum down into corner number 3. Here comes Koss. Here comes Jonathan Cogswell. They want to join that battle, and unfortunately for the 24 of Jack Simpson, he hasn't really been able to pull away from these guys. Seeing them battle door to door, 2 wide, almost 3 wide for position number 2. They were able to hang right there with them, and unfortunately for the 24, that was his time to potentially try to pull away, open up a bit of a lead, and put himself as potentially our race winner. But now, with him right there on his back bumper, they have an opportunity here to try to separate him and try to put him back there behind them as you do see the 84 get a little tight down through corner number 3 and 4. Cogswell pushes up the racetrack. Unfortunately, going to slide him and the 63 ride backwards. There is Koss trying to keep himself out of the outside fence. They lose a ton of momentum down the front straightaway. They will fall back behind Anthony Ludi as Ludi now inside the top 5. There goes Aaron Spear. Here comes Aaron York as well as York. The last time around laid down the quickest lap time of this race, a 29.65. He has some of the freshest tires out there on the racetrack, about 21 laps better than the drivers that are in front of him here. Same with Anthony Ludi. He's got quite a bit better tires. Aaron Spear came down pit road on lap 106. Well, our front 3 were down pit side on lap 97 and lap 89. And that's where you see these tires starting to shine here late in this race. In that tire strategy, the pit strategy here may pay off this afternoon with only 10 more laps left to go this time by the start finish line. 10 more laps left to duke it out door to door still for position number 2 as the 24 ride down across the line. We'll see 10 laps left to go here this afternoon. Can Jack Simpson hang on and pick up this win here this evening, or do we see the fresh tires that are back there behind him able to put the power down and roll around our race leader and take this win away from him. You quickly see that 45 right all over his back bumper. He's going to spin Jack Simpson. Dylan Picklesheimer gets in to the 24 right, and Simpson, our race leader, goes around, and the caution flag will come out once again late in this race. A heartbreaker there for Jack Simpson, and it looks like Michael Carter going to get a piece of him as well, as we saw this number 24 run getting shoved down and out of corner number 2. You saw this big run coming out of this 45 ride and quickly to his back bumper, pushing him down out of corner number 2. Let's see if we can get another look at this one, as they were right there tight together. Unfortunately, Simpson a little bit less tired here on the racetrack, and you see Dylan Picklesheimer in that Jordan, the Beast, the Monster Energy 45 ride, get to his back bumper, give him a shot, gets him squirrely here. Unfortunately, still on him, and spins him around right there as he's just trying to collect that car. And unfortunately for our race leader, Jack Simpson, turned around hard up into the outside fence. You do see Anthony Ludi going to get a little piece of him right there as well, and so close to taking out the 51 right there, as well as, oh man, maybe some heavy damage there as well for Zach Wilson as well. Man, that's a tough break for that 24 ride. And then you see James Hudson come in and cleans him out right there after the fact. After that 24 ride already stopped on the racetrack, that 2 machine comes right on in and cleans him out here late in this race. As James Hudson, he's trying to figure out what he needs to do to get through all this and trying to keep himself out of the trouble. Unfortunately, the 24 signed right there in the middle of the racetrack, and he just tees him up and takes him out there. Unfortunately, heavy damage for both of those drivers, and craziness here late in this race. And we did see a couple drivers head down pit side, maybe seeing those fresh tires potentially pay dividends here. You see Al Likens, Max Cost. You did see James Hudson obviously getting repairs done to the 2 ride. Jack Simpson getting repairs to his car. Michael Carter also down and off the racetrack now. Scott Shive still rolling out there in that 20th position, as things are definitely getting crazy here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And now we have a new race leader, Dylan Picklesheimer. Seimer out in front. Picklesheimer leading the way here this afternoon. Going to get ready for this restart as Zach Wilson will be in position number 2. Anthony Ludi there in 3rd, with Timothy Watson and Aaron Spear rounding out our top 5. Now the driver inside our top 10 with the freshest tires, who ran into problems early in this race, is the Tiny Toes number 17 of Corey Denk. There in that 9th position, has the freshest tires out of anybody inside the top 10. Same with Adam Boughton, who we saw leading laps early in this race. He's now back inside the top 10 from what we thought was potentially his night over after getting tied up in a couple of those wrecks. And now we see Drew King with fresh tires back there as well in 16th, and even fresher tires back here for Max Cost, who will restart in that 15th position. Al Likens, who scored back in 16th now, getting ready here with some very fresh tires late in this race, and potentially going to try to race their way up and through the traffic and up and through the field and back up to the front of the pack here, as Squeaker says, always gotta be some stupid yellow middle of the race that causes this type of racing. Yeah, unfortunately, that middle of the race, that lap 88, lap 89 caution flag that came out, really just kind of got this one started. I think it was really the factor that drivers didn't have to really worry about fuel mileage anymore. They knew that was their last pit stop. They could make it on fuel. They didn't have to come back down pit side, and everyone bunched back together, and everyone just trying to get everything they can, trying to cash in, trying to, hit the pocket aces at the Texas Hold'em table here, trying to, hit that royal flush and, maybe a home run here at Las Vegas, and trying to hit that jackpot and cash out here with the checkered flag this evening, and everyone trying to win it out there on the racetrack, creating a lot of chaos and damage here this evening. As Jack Simpson says, I don't know what to say. Jack, man, tough luck. Tough luck out there for the Simpson crew here this afternoon, and unfortunately now down pit side with heavy damage and out of this race after leading late in this one and trying to hold these guys off and pick up that checkered flag. Now down pit side and out of this race is down through the Geico restart zone. Dylan Picklesheimer sees that green flag flying quickly, that 45 right onto the loud pedal, getting a great launch, a great jump there, and separating himself quickly from that 51 is Zach Wilson. Wilson trying to hang right there with him, trying to keep himself on the back back bumper of that number 45 ride, trying to make a move and see if he can try to pick up this checker flag, as here comes some of those fresher tires. Anthony Ludi, Aaron Spear trying to race their way up and through the top 5 and towards the front of this pack. Michael York there in 6 in that prime number 5 ride, rolls now in position number 6 as Cogswell, Grubbs, and Corey Dank back there in position number 9. Corey has the freshest tires out of anybody inside the top 10 here, trying to use them to his advantage. Stay with that 94 ride of Adam Belton as the laps continue to click down, and out in front it's Dylan Picklesheimer, who has the race lead down the back straightaway with only 4.5 laps left to go here. 4 laps down across the line. That 45 trying to hold off Zach Wilson for a big win here at Las Vegas. As now you see Wilson get a good run down to the inside. A little contact right there between our race leaders. Again, here at Las Vegas with 4 laps left to go. They're battling door to door for the race lead. And here comes the rest of the pack. Quickly close it in on their back bumper. It is far from over here this evening. Here comes that 17 ride, the Tiny Toes Machine. A Corey Dink back up inside the top 10. Now into that 6th position. Looking to roll around Aaron Spear, looking to roll around the 11 of Gavin Grubbs, as all these drivers try to race their way up to the front of the field here. Dylan Picklesheimer and Zach Wilson still door to door down across the line with only 3 more laps left to go. 3 more laps of racing action, and we're side by side here at the front of the field for the Victory Fuel 200, live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Hypershift Racing League. And Zach Wilson, Dylan Picklesheimer, door to door, as here comes some fresher tires back there behind him. The prime number 5 ride of Michael York, who started at the rear of the field here this afternoon. Now into position number 4 and looking for more as they're door to door, still beating and banging, slamming fenders here at Las Vegas. Picklesheimer, Zach Wilson, side by side down the back straightaway. They're trying and hoping to see that white flag fly, as here comes Corey D. Corey D, the Tiny Toe 17 ride, back inside the top 5 here this afternoon. Adam Belton, Gavin Grubbs right there as well, as out of corner number 4, the 51 of Zach Wilson will take that race lead away as we see that white flag fly one more time around here for Zach Wilson. Can he take him back around the racetrack here and pick up the dub this afternoon, as Michael York down low looking for position number 2 on the racetrack, and here comes Corey D. 2 wide, almost 3 wide, down into corner number 3 for the final time here this afternoon. It's Zach Wilson who will round corner number 4 in the Rogue 51 ride, will pick up the win here at Las Vegas, as he will hit the jackpot and pick up the checkered flag here in the Hypershift Racing League once again here on the season. What a run and what a drive there for Zach Wilson as he picks up the win. Michael York will come home in 2nd, and Dylan Picklesheimer will round out our top 3. Timothy Watson back there in 4th, Adam Belton in 5th, Corey D back in 6th with Aaron Spear, Al Likens, Jonathan Cogswell, Gavin Grubbs rounding out our top 10 here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner, or give it up for all these drivers. A crazy finish here this afternoon. A lot of battle in there late in this race. Each and every one of these drivers not wanting to give up an inch out there on the speedway. Duking it out here this afternoon. Some great racing action. We're going to get ready to hear from all of our top 3 here this evening. We'll get ready to pull them up and into the broadcast booth here this afternoon, man, as Zach Wilson celebrates, burns down the house here at Las Vegas Motor Speedways. Sean O'Keefe says 45 and 51 dirty drivers. Listen, I don't know if I would call them dirty drivers. It's just good, hard racing out there on the speedway. Late in this race, the contact that we saw there between the 51 and the 36, that's just coincidental racing right there. The 51 trying to get to the inside, the 36 trying to pinch him. Unfortunately, both drivers just converging same place, same time at the racetrack right there. That one is just a good, hard racing deal. The contact between the 45 and the 24, obviously the 45 with the fresher tires, trying to get out in front, trying to pick up the win, and trying to push that 24 ride down the back straightaway to try to clear that 51 of Zach Wilson. Unfortunately, just getting them too hard into his back end right there, and unfortunately taking him out here this evening. As Ryan, unfortunately, the 24 ride of Jack Simpson, he got some heavy contact there into the back end from the 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. Unfortunately, that contact, the big hit there into the rear end, just jacked up that 24 ride, got him loose out of corner number corner number 2, as he was trying to catch it. The 45 ride still on the throttle. Unfortunately, they come together again as the 24 Simpson was just trying to catch that car, keep it pointed in the right direction. Unfortunately, making contact again into the right rear quarter panel, and that spun the 24 ride around into the outside fence. Heavy damage from that, and then got cleaned out by the 2 rider Hudson out there as well. Did not help here this afternoon. It's a tough race, tough end to this race, man. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of caution flags, and a lot of drivers running into issues in a quick hurry out there on the speedway. And unfortunately, some of the fast cats that we saw battling at the front of the field, like Wenzel, like Brian Fine, and like Jack Simpson, a lot of these guys that probably deserved solid finishes and good runs here this afternoon, not getting the runs that they deserved here this evening, as we'll get ready to pull our race winner up and into the broadcast booth and hear what he's got to say about the action here this evening as he sits down pit side. Hey Zach, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
What's up, Aaron?
Not much, Zach, man. Take us back through this race as you're able to pick that 51 right up and drive it to the front of the field after missing out on qualifying there. And all of a sudden, late in this race, you get an opportunity to battle for this race win. A lot of action out there, a lot of caution flags. Later on, you got some pieces of a couple of them out there, but luckily enough, able to keep that 51 ride out there with the track position. Doesn't look like too much damage dealt to that 51 ride, and you're able to battle door to door there with Dylan Picklesheimer for the race win, and you're able to clear him with only a couple laps left to go and able to steal this win away from that 45 machine.
Yeah, heck of a finish there with Dylan and I. He ran me really clean. Just I think his tires got a little hot on the outside there, but it was a good race to the finish. But up to that point, man, it was a roller coaster, a lot of ups and downs. Unfortunately, had some contact with a few guys. Bad block by the 36. I felt like I was there. They had went down from the bottom of the track back to the top, trying to protect his teammate, and then come back down across my nose. The 77 was having some connection issues on the restart and blinked out. And when he appeared back up, I was already against him. So wasn't really anything I could do there. I thought we had a fast car tonight. I feel like my teammate, Brian Fine, was faster of us two tonight. And unfortunately, he got taken out by the 36. So I hate that he got taken out because I really felt that he probably deserved this win. But ultimately, just happy that RTR got the win tonight. We got the pole, so we had a real strong showing, and these guys better look out for us the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this isn't your first time up and into victory lane here this season with the Hypershift Racing League. And, you picked up the win, I believe, there in Darlington. The 51 riders look fast in a lot of these races, but kind of take us back through this race. Obviously, starting at the rear of the field, having to race yourself up through the, all these drivers and trying to race yourself through the field here, and obviously playing a little bit of that pitch strategy until we saw that second caution flag around lap 88, which really kind of set things off here late in this race. And up to that point, it was good hard racing. You were able to use that strategy and race yourself up towards the front of the field here, feeling very, very fast out there, and obviously be able to pass a lot of cars early in this race until the chaos kind of ensued there later on.
Yeah, just unfortunately, had to give up my ability to qualify due to a penalty from last week. So we served that penalty, and my goal was just to try to make it up into the top 10 before the first round of green flag stops. But we got that caution around 17 or 18, so we turned that in to a pit stop, and I think I came out around 12th. So I felt like we had a top 5 car, maybe top 3. I didn't feel like I said, we had anything for Brian. And then down the stretch there, those restarts on the outside was just very stressful. It's hard to get the outside rolling if you don't have some help. But we got a good restart on the end. Was able to get back under Dylan there and work the bottom, and we brought home the win. But it was a fantastic race. I know it was probably a lot of fun to watch those last few laps. A lot of hard racing coming down to the end. Good finish for Dylan and Michael, and appreciate everybody in the league.
Absolutely. Well, take us back through some of that racing there late in this race. Obviously, you and Dylan door-to-door battling for this race lead, but there was a lot of different drivers that were trying to play some of that tire strategy out there during those caution flags, and they were coming to quick hurry. We're getting a little bit nervous there, with, maybe 2 laps left to go, seeing some of those drivers with the fresher tires poke their nose into the top 5 here and trying to hunt you guys down late in this race. Did you think one of them maybe would get a run and battle and get around both you guys there late in this race?
Yeah, I was worried, especially with the restarts. A lot of that depended on where they started at and how they were able to get through traffic. I feel like if we have another 5 or so laps, you're probably talking to someone else tonight for this victory lane interview. But ultimately, it worked out in the end, and we're racing to lap 134 and no further. So
Absolutely, brother. No farther here this afternoon as you're able to pick up the checkered flag and put yourself back up into victory lane here this evening in that beautiful 51 machine, man. Who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this afternoon?
yeah, big points not for us. Shout out to RTR and all my teammates. Unfortunately, Brian was the only one able to make it tonight, but I know Michael and the rest of the boys are all watching from home. Just shout out to the league. Thank you for putting on a great broadcast for us. I know we all enjoy going back and watching it, and all the live viewers who are out there watching tonight. Uh, Pull to Denny Hamlin and beat your best driver, and hopefully I'll do it again next week.
Absolutely, Zach. Well, congratulations on the win, and we can't wait to see it back out there on the racetrack next Thursday afternoon and see if you can, reenact here this race maybe a little bit cleaner, a little less contact, and a few less caution flags late in the race, and maybe see this 51 right back up here in the broadcast booth.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Zach Wilson. As Wilson gets it done and pulls that 51 ride up and into victory lane, picking up the Victory Fuel 200 win here this afternoon with the Hypershift Racing League as we'll get ready. Pull in our second place driver here. Another driver that raced their way from the back of the pack and up to the front of the field here. It's Michael York. York still out there on the speedway somewhere. There's that prime number 5 ride. He's able to come home in position number 2. A very back and forth day here for this 5 ride as well. Let's see what he's got to say about this race. Hey, Michael, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
I do. What's up, man?
Not much. Michael, man, what a run and what a performance here for you this evening, man, as you're able to battle your way not once and really not twice, but a few times here this evening up towards the front of the field here. Obviously, we saw you battle and trying to race your way inside the top 5. Contact, you end up going down through the grass there, and unfortunately, getting a little damage just taking that car down pit side, but you battle back from that here. Late in the race, you got some of the fresher tires there, you're steamrolling up through that top 5, trying to get into that battle there as you see Zach Wilson and Dylan Picklesheimer door to door out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately, you couldn't quite catch up to that 51 ride. Just needed a few more laps to maybe pull this one off and put yourself up into victory lane from the rear of the field.
Yeah, I definitely think if we had a couple more laps, it would have got dicey. I don't even know if we would have made it to the white flag if it would have went another lap. But no, it was very eventful to say the least. I got really tight coming off of 4 and went for a nice ride, and just so happened a caution came out right after that happened, and that pretty much saved my race.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of those late race caution flags bringing a lot of drivers back into the action here. Drivers that we thought were maybe down and out of this one, running into problems earlier as well. When you look back, there were Adam Boughton and Corey Denk both up inside the top 10 there, and obviously seen Adam inside the top 5. But all of you guys with those fresher tires just steamrolling through the top 10 there. These guys were sitting there a little bit almost like sitting ducks, and unfortunately seemed like you guys were battling a little too hard between yourselves and not going after those guys quick enough there on that final restart to really give yourself that shot or that opportunity to maybe jump up and steal this win.
Well, I mean, once you see guys guys who are running up front start having problems, that's when they say the payday window opens. So I knew I had an opportunity to go out there and maybe steal a win. That was kind of my goal. I was pretty much tire management the whole entire race. So going from doing that to running as hard as we was there the last 20 laps or so, I mean, that was a lot of fun, man. I haven't had that much fun in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of fun, a lot of crazy action here late in this race. And you park that prime ride up here onto the podium in position number 2. Michael, who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this afternoon?
Well, thank you for the broadcast, man. I always appreciate the guys who take the time out of their nights to do these. Shout out to all the league owners here at Hypershift, and I have a team that I run back in other leagues, Ions Motorsports, and I had a spotter with me tonight who co-owns the team with me. He helped me out. He dipped with like 20 laps to go, and I still did better anyway. So, no, just thank you for everything you guys do, man.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Michael, congratulations on that second place finish, and hopefully we'll see you back out there on the racetrack next Thursday, and maybe right back up here in the broadcast booth, maybe one spot better and up in victory lane yourself.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher is Michael York coming home in position number 2 here this evening. A very solid run and a great finish here for that number 5 ride as York comes home in that second spot here this evening. As we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher here this evening, as Jack Asim says, congrats, Zach. Great finish, great commentary in the interview. Class act. Props, brother. Props right there. Yeah, good run, good race there. Unfortunate contact there between Zach and the 36 ride, and obviously there's a lot of drivers that are probably feeling the exact same way. You know, just unfortunate contact, hard racing late in the race. Unfortunately, things get tightened up. Drivers not wanting to give an inch out there and trying to get every single thing they can. That's where we see problems happen in a quick hurry, and that's where we saw some issues here. Potentially the fresher tires out of the 45 ride getting into the back end of that 24 of Jack Simpson, turning him around there down the back straightaway. Unfortunately for the 24 of Simpson, getting the worst end of that deal, and the 45 right of Dylan Picklesheimer able to keep himself up here inside the top 3 here this afternoon, battling hard for that race win, but settles in for that third place, and we're going to get ready to pull him up into the broadcast booth. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for the 45 right of Dylan Picklesheimer. Hey Dylan, it's Aaron up here on the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Dylan, man, a crazy race here this afternoon, man. A wild one, to say the least, late here in Las Vegas. Everyone trying to cash in, trying to hit that jackpot here, and you were so close to it, man. We saw you have those fresher tires. You were battling your way up through the top 3, trying to clear Zach Wilson and get into the back bumper there of the 24 ride. Seemed to be struggling there at the front of the field. Unfortunately, get into the back end of Simpson, get him turned around, but then late in this race, during those closing laps, battling door to door, lap after lap after lap there with Zach Wilson, trying to get clear of him, trying to take that race lead and trying to pick up the dump here in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, come up a couple spots shy, yet to settle in for third here this evening, but take us back through this race. And what's going through your mind is you were another one of those drivers, just like Wilson and that 5 ride of Michael York, who started at the rear of the field and able to race your way up here and round out our podium.
Yeah, man. First off, I want to say sorry to the 24. I was trying to get to him and push him. I don't know really what happened there. I think it's my fault, but I don't know. I didn't want him to get wrecked like that. I had fresher tires like you said, and I just was trying to get there and push him so he could get in the corner, and then I was gonna make my move. But yeah. So we had to start in the back because I'm on probation. I'm a bad boy, but it'll probably get extended one more week or 2 or 3. I don't know, because that wrecked tonight. But yeah. It seemed like the guys in the back found their way to the front. We finished 1, 2, 3, and it was a crazy race. First stop, I stayed out on the old tires and kind of had to pit early, and just kept battling, man. It was fun. These guys are fast, and I'm happy to be in this league. I know I've had my moments this season, but I'm trying to clean it up. But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, when it's tough competition, everyone out there running for everything they can, not wanting to give up an inch out there on the speedway, not wanting to give a whole lot of room or a position here, especially late in these races. It becomes very, very tough racing in a quick hurry. And that's where we see some of these issues happen. A lot of these late race caution flags fly out like we saw here this afternoon. But you're able to keep yourself, for the most part, though, pointed in the right direction and out of trouble here this afternoon. And you're able to pull that 45 ride up and onto the podium. Dylan, who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this afternoon?
I'd like to thank you, man. I like watching these back and checking out the races. You do a really good job. I'd like to thank my teammates at Slightly Dangerous Motorsports, Chris, Al, Daryl, James. Daryl's been going through some stuff with his mom, man. I hope everything works out on his end. So we're kind of racing for him tonight and just the last couple weeks. But I want to thank my wife and my mom and dad. I don't know if they watch tonight, but I'm going to make them watch it now. And then my father-in-law, can't forget him. So, yeah. And also, I want to thank the admins. They put on a good league, man. I'm happy to be here. It's really fun.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we're happy to see you out there on the racetrack, and we can't wait to see you back in action here again next Thursday, and hopefully we'll see you battle your way back up to the front of the field and maybe put yourself back up here onto the podium, maybe a couple spots better, and up into victory lane yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer coming home there in position number 3 here this evening. Unfortunately, that's going to do it for us here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here this evening, and I will see you guys back in action here tomorrow night on Peacemaker Gaming as we have the Octane Outlaws going to battle here tomorrow night on Peacemaker Gaming. I'm not sure where they're headed tomorrow night, but nonetheless, it's going to be some great racing action. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch those guys battle and duke it out for a lap after lap after lap there with the Octane Outlaws here tomorrow night as well, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be another great race. I do believe we are heading, as I was trying to find the, we're in the Daytona this week. Oh, baby, that's going to be fun. Daytona tomorrow night here on Peacemaker Gaming, man. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be some great racing, and we can't wait to see everyone in attendance cheering those drivers on and battling out there on the Speedway for the Octane Outlaws Grand Slam Series back in action tomorrow evening. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in here tonight as the Victory Fuel 200 going to the 51 rider Zach Wilson. Wilson getting it done and picking up the win here this afternoon, putting himself up and into victory lane at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. As a lot of drivers came into this race, maybe a gamble and a little bit of a roll of the die out there on the Speedway, especially with some of those late race moves. Unfortunately for some of them, definitely not hitting the numbers, but here for some, hitting the numbers right on top of the head and putting themselves up towards the front of the field and getting some great solid finishes here this evening as they were able to pick up some cash here, maybe a little extra, a little extra points out there in hitting that jackpot here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and maybe some just breaking even. Others, unfortunately, not getting what they were hoping for, and unfortunately falling down into the red here in Las Vegas, Sin City here down the strip at Las Vegas. As unfortunately, that will do it for us here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Huge shout out again to Kevin Healy. Kevin showing the love there with the donos over on YouTube. Papa Mike coming in, showing the love over there on Facebook. I appreciate that. Papa Mike coming in, showing the love again here in this one as well, hitting that heart reaction. I did hear a note go off. I think that might have been Papa Mike resubscribing there on the YouTube stream or on the Facebook stream as well. So I appreciate that, and everyone showing the love here this afternoon. But we'll catch you guys back in the next one tomorrow night. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Turbocharged heart, piston pumping like a beast. Black top, jungle feast on chaos, crave the grease. 180 miles of asphalt ain't forgiven. In this chaos-driven life, only the fearless living. Check the flat visions, adrenaline addiction. Metal chorus blare, ain't no friction fiction. Drafting on the homies, camaraderie's the trigger. Slides on the track, bombs ready, yeah we bigger. Brother dreams, chasing speed and money. Engines roar loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, with fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line. Pit stop hustle, seconds ticking like grenades. Oil oil stained glory, history never fades. Helmet and visor, it's a warrior's enchantment. Every turn a gamble, every lap a commitment. Crowds roar, amplifies high octane behavior. Victory day sharp, savoring the flavor. Wind in the helmet, destiny's a blur. Burning rubber dreams, all senses concur. Burn rubber dreams, chasing speed and might. Engines roar loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, the fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Pulling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line. Running the trees, chasing speed and light. Engines roaring loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, the fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line. Turbocharged hawk, piston pumping like a beast. Black top, jungle feast on chaos, crave the grease. 180 miles of asphalt and forgiven. In this chaos-driven life, only the fearless living. Chapter flag visions, adrenaline addiction. Metal chorus blare, ain't no friction fiction. Drafting on the homies, camaraderie's a trigger. Slides on the track, bombs ready, yeah we bigger. Burn rubber dreams, chasing speed and might. Engines roaring loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, with fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line. Pit stop hustle, seconds ticking like grenades. Oil stained glory, history never fades. Helmet and visor, it's a warrior's enchantment. Every turn a gamble, every lap a commitment. Crowds roar, amplifies high octane behavior. Victory day sharp, savoring the flavor. Wind in the helmet, destiny's a blur. Burning rubber dreams, all senses concur. Burn rubber dreams, chasing speed and might. Engines roar loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, the fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line. Running from the trees, chasing speed and light. Engines roaring loud, blazing through the night. Lap after lap, the fire in our veins. Run till we drop, or burst into flames. Fueling up the spirit, nitro in the soul. Cranking up the madness, losing all control. Curves like serpents, straightaways divine. Track burning hot, toasting every line.